Welcome. I'm Jay Hill. I am the host of Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast with my special guest, Medium Sky Raye, and my new Saturday co host, Elizabeth. How are you?
Good.
Good. So, first off, I'm not doing the normal podcast show in the Spirited Mansion because there was a large wedding there. So, I'm actually doing this from my home on my porch, which is fine. I can make it work. So, um, I wanted to say thank you, Sky, for coming on, and it's such a pleasure to finally meet you. And why don't you kind of give everybody a little bit of information on what you have going on right now?
Yeah, so right now, there's been a lot of things in the works. We have the largest ghost hunt coming up at Fort Mifflin. I believe it's September 24th. I will let you know for sure.
Okay.
I will share that and repost that info. Um, so that's coming up. I'm still up in the air. I don't know. I kind of just want to throw this out there. A lot of healers and a lot of our brothers and sisters in the paranormal field have been um, ill, coming down with things that,
Yeah,
we've
a
all
lot.
been going through it. I just went through it. I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Brandon, Light Within the Paranormal. He needs prayers, you guys.
Okay.
I just found out today. I had no clue. He actually contacted me about an event for October. And, that's the last thing on my mind right now. I'm just actually worried about him and his family. And I want to send as many prayers out to him and
Okay.
sending love and light.
Yeah,
Um,
we can definitely do that as well.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah. And, we have the Field of Fears documentary that SRS Paranormal with Matthew Sorge, Justin Spurrier, JW, myself, and their whole team brought JW, Justin, and I in as special guests to help film this documentary on Randolph County Asylum. The editing's still going on as we speak, but it is due to be out in October. So everybody keep an eye out for that. And there's also the companion piece, which we've all written in, Field of Fears documentary, The Haunting of Randolph County Asylum. That is out on Amazon. I will drop the link to for that later in the comments.
Okay.
I'll go back, answer anything, because I can't see any comments either being on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but
I
that's out
actually
today.
can, so.
Oh, Jay Ken.
Yes.
I did send that to you, but I don't think I sent you the link. So,
Yeah, you can
um,
definitely send that to me. Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
and I'll share that out too. So, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, thanks. But other than that, I'm still kind of taking it easy. I've been working and recouping. I have been working on my second book. Um, and, my first book came out February. I was on 7 top bestsellers list for Find Your Voice in the Darkness. You guys can go to my
Yes.
website, mediumskyraye.com, to purchase that.
Hmm.
And what that book entails is a little bit, I think there's a little bit of everything for everyone, depending on what it is you're looking for. I try to touch base on a lot of different subjects in part 1, and I do some teaching with manifesting, self-transformation, self-love, self-care. And then the part 2 is some paranormal stories. And when I write, I want to be able to resonate with people on whatever level it is, whatever the subject is. But in my paranormal stories, they're really short stories, but I try to explain and educate people as I do this. My
Yep.
family went through HELL for years, being a medium, a born medium. My 2 children, I have 3, but my oldest and my youngest have abilities. And even with me being a teacher, I think maybe it's because I'm their mom. They didn't necessarily take my my advice or my
Right.
trainings to heart when they were younger, and so too they weren't really ready, or
Hmm. Right.
whatever.
Right.
They, God bless them, they went through a hard time, and I share some really crazy stories in there that happened, even with the school systems, and with my daughter's story, suicide. She attempted suicide. If a lot of you
Wow.
don't know my background, my last job in 2017, I was a case manager. I did work with a lot of families, low income families. I ran a lot of programs, but I'm also a veteran. And, you know, for what they experienced at a very young age, with me not being around a lot, and it just, I think the more experiences that you have, the more of a challenge that you have with
Right.
these issues, you know, and life experiences. So I just try to help people as much as I
Right.
can, you know.
So I wanted to say thank you for your service, since you said you were a veteran. And we also have another one in the room, Elizabeth.
Yep.
So it's,
Girl
and
power,
actually,
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
right. And it's funny you say that, because my daughter is actually a chief petty officer in the Navy.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I love that.
So yeah. So she's been around the world like several times, and she's been on the Mercy ship, and I mean she's getting deployed again this next month. And so
I'll be sending some
yes,
prayers out to keep her safe.
yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she lives out in San Diego. She is engaged to a another Navy man that is actually going to get deployed in March. So you know, she's fantastic. And so I mean, she's, you know, been in there 10 years, paid her dues. I mean, she's just done awesome things. So I couldn't be prouder of her.
Right.
So it's very nice to have other people who were in the military as well, you know, to speak with, because it's just, we have a long line of family
Yeah,
members.
and it's hard, and it runs in my family too. I mean,
Yeah.
it is generational.
And it's also scary too, you know.
Very scary.
Let me ask you, as a medium, what do you think that some of the, with having like wars and like the things going on in like Afghanistan and this and that, do you think that in the spiritual world that there's like an uptick of activity in different areas, especially war-torn areas?
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like it creates the perfect storm. We're energy, and everything's energy.
Right.
You know, we're conflicted with these times now that are, I think they've always been around. Don't get me wrong. It's just more known now. We have more technology now. We have more ways to reach out. And being on that subject and that topic, a lot of spiritual warriors are having a hard time helping people.
Right.
These lower energies, man, are trying to take us out, you know.
Yeah.
And it's no game. It's
like
real.
a push. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a big push.
You're
you
right,
know?
Jay.
And so I think that it's just, you know, seeing some of the headlines and this and that, you know, it's just, you want to know like what's causing this? What is really the crux of some of this stuff that's fueling this? You know, I mean, is it the standard good versus evil, or is it just like you said, it's just kind of like over time, you know, I mean, it's always been there. You know what I mean?
It has.
So,
And if you think about it, and if you look at the bigger picture, and you look at it from a perspective of, look at the indigenous people, go way back.
Right.
Now, I'm just going to say, my great grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. Okay. Way back, years and years and years, we've been fighting. We've been divided, right? Look at what's going on. Look at how the divide has happened in the scenarios and the situations that have come up, especially since COVID hit.
Right. I think there's so many different avenues of, I guess, negative effects. I mean, it's just kind of like it's splintered into so many different things, you know. And I think that people, the humans in general, I mean, just, you know, we are energy, and I think that basically it's just kind of just fueled that, you know, that all these entities and all these events that are happening, I think that just basically it's kind of like an explosion, you know. I mean, and now, like you said, with, you know, like light warriors who basically kind of need everybody's help to come together and to help ensure that, you know, we can keep doing that work as a light worker and this and that, because there's a lot of different elements that, whereas in mediums years ago didn't see that, You know,
Right.
I mean, they did not realize what would possibly could be today. You know, I mean, it's just it's amazing some of the stuff. And me being kind of young, as in being a medium and coming into this at a later age, some of the stuff that I have read in the past about what some mediums, you know, how they practice and how they do things and this and that. If they were around today, they would just be, their mind would be blown,
Right.
you know?
Right. I agree.
So, um, so you touched on, in your book, you had touched on a little bit of like the suicide.
Hmm.
Can I get, can I get your opinion on, as a medium and as a mom, you know,
Yeah.
parent, can I get your opinion on how you think that that is relevant to the spiritual world as well as the human side?
Okay. There's a lot of different directions I could go. As
Okay.
a mom, um, it's the unheard of thing of losing a child, as we know, right? Um, I I don't even know. It's hard to. I want to be
To put it
light with
together.
this.
Right. Right, right. No, take your time. That's fine.
Um,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
no, you're good. I like this. I like this because it challenges me to be able to word this,
Hmm.
correctly so that people can understand on both levels, the
Hmm.
human side and the spiritual side. Sorry, guys. All right. So as a mom, I watched it unravel in a very, I guess, weird scenario. In every scenario is different in their own right. Um, I got blessed that she was, um, able to have another chance.
Okay.
They legally, they don't know how she stayed alive. They don't know how she didn't pass. She ended up, long story short, and then I'll get into the spiritual side of it because it'll be
Hmm.
easier to
Right, right.
make light and sense of this.
Hmm.
She was unconscious, I think, for 2 to 3 days, and then they ended up transferring her to the children's hospital. This was 2011. I was going through a divorce with their father, my first husband, and also me getting ready to leave out of country. So she had a lot on her plate as a
Right.
human, as a child, as not having her mother around, going through adolescence. That's a big thing, especially when they're sensitives.
Hmm.
Um, but to top the cake of that, the house that I lived in had a portal, and it was not good there. It wasn't. The things that happened in that house have still lingered till today, and we still fight this thing.
Right. Right.
We do. Um, there was a lot of influence. There was a lot of things in the background that you can't go into a medical facility and say, or you're going to be locked up for being crazy,
Oh yeah.
whatever have you. But at this time, I was very naive to how serious it was and what the effects of it were and what was really going on underneath.
Hmm.
Um, so she got lucky. Like I said, and on the spiritual side with suicides, I've had a lot of clients come for readings, and every time a parent has contacted me, as soon as I get that phone call, as soon as I get that message, and they say, "Hey, I'm reaching out to you. I need a reading. I need help." These are
Hmm.
parents that have lost their children to suicide, and I
Right.
can relate. So, what mediums experience, or what mediums have experienced in their life, is usually what then is drawn to them, so that you're
Hmm.
able to
Right.
relay the information in an understanding manner, but also receive that information from spirit with your frame of reference,
Yep.
and then be able to pass those messages to help heal the family, help heal the parents.
Right.
Spiritually with suicide, they don't go to hell, I know this is probably where you're going, Jay.
Yeah, a little, but I just was curious.
Yeah.
What you
So
thought.
what I know from working with the spirit world, my spirit team, and the spirits that have passed, I've lost several friends my brothers and sisters that I, shed blood, tears, and everything with. Lost plenty of friends over the years, but I noticed some of them had a difficult time crossing over. And that's where we come in. This is where we're
Right.
able to help.
Right.
So people sometimes don't understand. Sometimes we don't grieve correctly because we're seeing our loved ones. We're seeing our friends. They come to us. I've had several family members and friends come to me, and sometimes it was a dream. Sometimes I actually physically saw them and spoke with them to help them. And sometimes it was something that was channeled when I was in a meditative state. Okay.
Right. Right.
And just for one person in particular, I'm just going to say one of my friends, he came to me and he couldn't understand what had happened. He didn't understand, what he was supposed to do and why he was so sad and why he felt like he couldn't get in touch with everybody. So he was lingering around, he wasn't trapped, but he was confused because it was such an impact and it was that quick. The spirit can jump out of the body. And we have this with some of the clients, family members that come. So what I did and what I do counsel them. I hold space for them, just like I hold space for you, Jay, or you, Elizabeth, if you need help or a prayer. And you just have your intent and your intentions. And you can physically speak to them. You can say a prayer for them, whatever it be, you're helping, regardless whether you know it or not. And I always like to teach people that because they don't realize the power that you have to help them, get to where they need to go. But what I also do know is sometimes they go into a cocoon state when they get to the other side. They may
We just
cross
talked
over
about
very
that.
fast. Yeah, right.
Me and Elizabeth just talked about that this morning.
I love that. See, I love that.
There are no
on the
coincidences,
subject.
right?
There are no coincidences. No.
Absolutely not. My brother and
That's right.
sister, like,
Yeah.
nope, you can't do it.
Right.
You can't make this shit up.
No, you can't.
But they do go into the cocoon state. And sometimes, and what I found was sometimes I never had a real issue connecting with somebody that passed right away, but it didn't mean that they weren't able to communicate with me or their other team, with the family's team, the spirit team, and my team. You can really, go deep if you're willing to open up, to go those levels, being a medium. But that's where you kind of learn. Every day is new. Every client is new. It's such a blessing. It's not an easy thing to do. It's just not. But
no, it's not.
I was able to help him. He didn't need to go into a cocoon phase afterwards. After me talking, he had several visits with me. He would come and we would talk. And this person, he grew up with me. I loved him. I had like that little girl crush. It was my brother's best friend.
Okay.
I had that little girl crush on him. I loved him till the day, he took his last breath. He was a drug addict. He went down that wrong path, but I never judged him. I just held space and loved him from afar. Even though I didn't speak to him for years. I mean, this man was a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous person physically. When I saw him, he came up to me in Walmart and he looked like an 80-year-old man. No teeth. I didn't even know who he was. And it was sad. It was so sad. And, it happens. I mean, but we judge ourselves in the end. I believe this. This is just my statement. There's nobody judging us when we go and when we cross, but we all need prayers. We all need help sometimes. And
I judge myself every day.
Oh my God, we're our own worst enemies. Who needs an enemy, right?
Yeah, that
ego. I say the noisy neighbor in the head. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I was telling my wife this morning. I said I am my own worst critic. I mean, it's true. Everybody is. But
because you know why? You have a conscience. You're a good person. You have a big heart, and you care.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, like I've always wanted to help people ever since I was little. You know what I mean? I mean, I
That's
had
where that
stories
trust
of,
factor comes in.
yeah, I had, stories of when I was like in, not even in kindergarten, and I used to have,
Yep.
well, maybe kindergarten, but I used to walk around, town with my older sisters or whatever. I used to have little girls come up and want to hold my hand.
Uh-oh.
You
The
know, and
compassionate and the
right,
furry
and
friends come to you. They've
yeah,
always come to
yeah,
you, didn't
oh
they?
yeah, and
Everywhere
it
you
was
go.
just, and I dealt with that in high school too. I had, a lot of friends and, girls who told me their life story
Yeah. Yeah.
and but never wanted to date me. And I was like, what's wrong with me? I mean, but that
Yeah.
was because of the fact that they saw the compassion side
Yeah. That
and they
light,
saw that.
that light
Hmm.
that we have that maybe some can't physically see.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
so bright. Like
Hmm.
both your lights are bright, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
when you're young, it's really weird. And Jay, I know, and Elizabeth, I know you probably won't be relatable. Like I always thought people were staring because I looked funny,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Or
no, no,
or
no.
something was
Yeah.
What's on my
wrong.
No.
Like I
face?
did
Yeah.
something wrong. I
Yeah.
felt like I was in trouble all the
Yeah. Oh
time
my gosh.
when I
Yeah.
was younger.
Look. Yeah.
I
Oh
That
think
is
no.
the
that
That's
even
commonality
now.
yeah.
of a sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I get that. Yeah.
And
Can
Do
even
I
you
ask
have?
now,
you a
like when
question?
they call it in psychology, they call it the spotlight,
Oh yeah.
where you walk in. I always use this story. You walk into Walmart and then you feel all that energy and you get overwhelmed and you just want to go
Uh-huh.
hide. But
Yeah.
really what it is, they're just flocking to you. And it's almost like,
Yeah.
remember, you got to put your protection, your barriers up
Oh yeah. Oh
and the
yeah.
boundaries, because boy, do you get bombarded. But
Yeah.
that's that what I was saying, like back then, that's really what was going on is you just you
You
blow up
radiate.
that light, you
Yeah. Yeah.
radiate
You
that love
radiate. Yep. Yep.
and you
Yep.
draw them in. But
Yeah.
that thing, like it's so weird.
It is weird. It is. Didn't you have a question,
Yeah,
Elizabeth?
I had a question. So, Sky, whenever I saw that you were coming on to this podcast, I read your
Yeah.
book,
Oh,
and yeah,
awesome.
and the first thing I looked, and just for those that haven't read it, the first thing I looked, just because I'm selfish, was how long is it and how long is it going to take me to read it.
Yeah.
And it was short enough to where I could stay engaged the whole time, which was wonderful. One of the things you talked about, since you were just talking about your older daughter, was your younger that was drawing the spirits.
Yes.
And you talked about how you had to go to the school, but I don't remember you talking about how did you deal with that?
Girl. Listen, they knew me. They were like my family from the time all the kids started from kindergarten and up. They were so close to me. They knew I was different. But listen, I didn't go around telling people who I was and what I did. I had a lot of very professional careers that if you were lucky enough, you got a good reading from me.
Yeah, okay.
But I for some reason that thought's been in my head all day, Elizabeth. So
You're
I
welcome.
was definitely communicating with you.
Yeah. See?
So I liked the fact, not to get off the subject, that I wanted to keep it engageable, short and sweet, and get to the point and help. Because let's face it, we don't have the time in our days anymore. We're busy. And I figure the quickest way to keep people engaged was just to put it all in expressively each sentence and get to the point. I am impatient. I'm a Gemini. I'm all over the place.
Hey,
Listen,
join the club.
yeah, right. See, CJ,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just can't. I'm doing 20 things at one time.
Yep.
I get bored easy.
Oh yeah.
But I finish what I start. I do finish what I start, but great point about that, because I wanted to keep it that way. So that way, if you wanted to go back and reference something, it was right there,
Right.
But anyway, back to the storytelling with my son. That boy, he was the jokester. He got in trouble for his comments. They said he had ADHD when he was younger, went through that whole thing with the doctors and then the school and the counselors. I went in several times for a bunch of different meetings, and I don't think I really expressed so much as to what I did, but I did kind of briefly explain to them that he had gifts, whether they believed it or not. I didn't care. I said, this is a way that a child communicates when they don't know how to express the words of what they're experiencing. I said that whether that be emotionally, right, mentally, physically, spiritually, it's those things,
Right.
in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, they got the gist. But I will say that they were very concerned. And even though they didn't believe it, or they had their own belief system and they were religious, not spiritual, I saw that was harder with some of them.
Right.
But they were open to listen to me, which was nice of them. But I'm telling you, mediums are needed in the field.
Yep.
They're needed in the medical field more than ever. They're needed in schools more than ever because of these things. My son thought something was wrong with him, you guys. An 8-year-old, between 8 and 9, he was going through these issues while I'm in the military, gone all the time. He knows my friends were getting hurt. You know, things happened. And then he would have these visions. He would have visitors. And then we lived in that house where, you know, you saw and you heard a lot of things. There was a lot of bad stuff there. And he was just trying to express himself so that he was heard.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said to Spirit and my dad in Spirit, what is the name of my book? Find your voice in the darkness, guys.
Right.
Always speak your truth. Always. Don't worry about what other people think or say. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, it's what you're going through. It's what you need to do for you. It's how you learn to cope with these things, you know. But he's very evolved now. He's going to be 20 October.
Oh, wow.
My kids amaze me. They're amazing, and I learned so. They're my greatest teachers. They are
awesome.
our greatest teachers, and I'm blessed. I really am.
That sounds like it. You know, everybody has their own path, and a lot of people don't realize, even if it's religious people or even
Right.
whether it be Catholics or Islamic or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't
every
matter.
individual, no, it doesn't matter. You have your own individual path that you are responsible for, you know, and a lot of people, you can't rely on other people. You can't rely on somebody else's decision. You can't rely on you know, you could take information from other people. You can, you know, we have that free will.
Right.
We have that free will here. We have that free will on the other side. You know, if there's somebody that passes and doesn't want to cross because of guilt or because of something that they did or something, you know, I mean, that is like a disease. I mean, that can keep them to where they're at, you know, and I know of a couple right now that are like that.
Right.
But, you know, we slowly try to ensure that, you know, hey, there is love on the other side. There is positivity, you know. We can't say for sure exactly what's beyond the white light, but as a medium,
we go there.
Right, and
Good
but I
point,
know,
Jay.
but I know that there's love there. I know that there's. I have no doubt that there's love there. What's beyond that, then that's something that you're just going to have to explore for yourself, because everybody is their own path. They do what they need to do,
Right.
you know. So it's
and I
just
like how
kinda,
you brought up we're responsible for our own journey.
Yeah.
We are the creators of our own world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's crazy what some people rely on everybody else to do things.
People, you guys don't need us. You don't need mediums. You have to go within, right?
Right.
We do need help and reminded. I do. I admit it. Sometimes I need help and reminded. I'm human right now.
Right.
Spiritual being and a human body having a human experience. We're here to learn. We're here to grow and evolve.
Right. And if we help people along the line, you know, and help them grow and help them to experience things, to help them see things in a different manner that, hey, I never thought about it that way. I still learn that every day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that I'm like, I didn't know that. I've been here 50
I
years
don't claim
and I've
to know
never learned
anything,
that,
you guys. Like, I just
right. You know, it's just amazing.
Ya.
I mean, you know, and I do believe that there are certain people that do come into other people's lives, especially people who are gifted for a reason, to help us to learn and to help us and to teach us and this and that. And they can be somebody that doesn't even have to have any gifts. They can just be on the human level of, hey, I never thought of that. You know,
there's very intuitive, good counselors out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And they'll sit
know?
and they'll tell you everything that you wanted to come and talk about. And they don't even know what they do. You don't have to know.
Right. Now I wanted to ask you, this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and it's something that spirits kind of led to me that I need to do
Okay.
is past life regression therapy.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I know this is something that I need to do. Okay. I want to know what your thoughts on it are,
Mhm.
and how, and if you've experienced that, or do you know somebody that has experienced that, and kind of what are the pros and cons of it, if there are any?
Well, again, if you feel that you need to seek this out, remember everything's healing. We have a lot of ancestral lineage shit that we bring over,
Yep.
and from other lifetimes in general,
Right.
whether they're illnesses, deaths. I've had a lot of near death experiences in this lifetime. So with the past life regression, even that, if you sit enough, if you're dedicated and you are, you've taken the time to decipher and kind of like just write a little list of the things that you want to know, with your questions. I will tell you, Jay, I've never had the past life regression thing done just because I've seen my past lives.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen them. Not all of them. There's some things maybe I would want to know, just to go in a little bit deeper. And then I would say or recommend somebody that I know that does that very well. I just haven't reached out to do that, but
Okay.
I'm on the same road as you. Like I want to
Yeah.
experiment with that.
Right.
It's also something I want to train with somebody, a mentor, to do. But I just work with different healing modalities. I'm very logical, and I'm kind of like, I think I just use human terms differently. And we've just made labels for what these things are that we do, which
Right.
I can sit with a client. And if for their best and higher purpose, right, higher self, if they need to go back, I've brought their guides from other lifetimes through, and I
Oh, wow.
identified who they are, when it was, and what happened, and why they have the issue. So what I do is like intuitive counseling healing. It's weird because it's just so natural. I didn't even know that I did this stuff.
Right.
I didn't know how to write down what my services are and why. And I talk about it, but for me to sit and write all this stuff out, I don't share that stuff, not because I don't want to, it's because I do so much. But if you ask your guides and your spirit team and you sit, you can probably get those answers during meditating.
Okay.
But if you want to reach out to somebody, I mean, I know people that do that. And like I said, I've never even had one done.
So how did you, because you said that you've already seen yours, how did that come through for you?
So slowly, I've done this since I was 17 years old, worked progressively, dedicated, any extra time to develop. So slowly they will reveal themselves. Now, when I was younger, I'll go a little bit back. I knew that my grandmother, my dad's mom, came with me when I was born. I could see her. I just didn't know she was a dead person.
Oh,
Right.
And I've seen many others. Okay. But I was too young to even communicate. I didn't know. They were just around, and it seemed like everybody knew. I thought, everybody knew. And we did the things that we do, life, everyday life things, family gatherings. I had no clue until I lost my mom's dad, my grandfather, which he was my caretaker, my babysitter when my mom and dad worked. Now, my dad's full-blooded Italian, so his dad lived with us, but him and my other pap on my mom's side got along great. So it was nothing to have my grandparents living and staying with us or me going there.
Right.
But when he passed, I wrote in the book, I think a little bit about it. His name, they nicknamed him Ducky. Donald was his name. And he died at a very young age too. He was like 54. He had stage 4 lung cancer, but he was my protector. So that was my first real loss. When that happened, I talked to my mom. This is after I had the book edited, you guys. So listen, this was just a human error. She said I was between 5 and 6 when he passed, which I was born in 79, and I'm sitting there and I'm counting. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have just asked her. But anyway, long story short, I didn't start experiencing the monsters under the bed until after he passed. Because then I was in a lower grieving energy. And this is what some people don't realize. Whatever energy you're emitting, you're going to have it come to you.
Right.
You're matching your energy. So when kids, you know, when I've mentored kids or families, and these subjects come up, this is kind of where it stems from. You know, I seen angelic beings. I saw, you know, my guides that came with me. Now they will come and go sometimes. Sometimes they stay, and sometimes they change. It's like you're not always going to have the same math teacher because you go up a level, right? Same with your guides. You're going to have one. If you do tech, you're going to have a tech guide. If you're a writer, you're going to channel. You know, I call in all sorts of guides.
Right.
Some that have lived, you know, that we've known.
Right.
I call in a bunch of people to help me work.
Right.
And I try to touch base on that in the book. And I teach this at least once a year. Winter coming, I'll probably have these classes, but I hope that helps explain a little bit for you, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
but you guys, absolutely, everybody has the ability to do this.
Mhm.
You have to be able to trust the information that you get, write it down.
Right.
Like they say, keep a journal. You can keep a journal by your bed. Maybe it's a dream.
Oh my God,
Maybe,
you sound like my mentor.
right?
And,
maybe it's a dream.
you know my mentor.
Who's your mentor, Jay?
Shauna Maria.
Oh yeah, see, that's my soul sister.
Yep,
Yeah.
I knew that. Yeah, and she's awesome. And
she's amazing. And you know, a lot of the stuff that her and when her and I talk, I love her so much. I do love her. When her and I talk, it's like electrifying. Like when we get together, our hair is like on end the whole time. It's nuts.
Yeah.
That's when you know you got your soul tribe.
Right. And that's, you know, and I knew that by you guys even liking the same things back and forth on social media, and I could like, man, those two are like two peas in a pod.
I know we all need to get together and do something. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, she was supposed to want to come to my event I had on Friday the 13th. I did that gallery reading at the mansion.
I didn't know. That would have been great to come and see that.
Yeah, that was a first for me.
How'd you feel? It's nerve-wracking, isn't it?
I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be, but it was very moving because the fact that Spirit basically kind of prompted me to say, okay, this is what you're going to do. Because it was just supposed to be a meet and greet. People come up and I talk about the mansion and this and that.
Yep.
And they're like, no, you're going to get up and do readings.
I love it. So they take care of you 100% always.
And
they've got your back.
So the second reading I did when I was standing up there, when you were talking about people who are like, you know, addicts and things like that, I was talking to Elizabeth this morning about this, and the girl that came through showed herself as an addict, showed herself as in disheveled and all this other stuff and da da da. Well, the girl that was sitting in front of me with these other two girls, she raised her hand. She said, yeah, I think I can relate to that. I think I know who that is. So I proceeded with the reading, and then come to find out that she had to present herself that way to me to relate.
For you to know.
To relate, because I'm an addict myself.
Right.
And I've been there, done that.
Me too.
If I would have seen her as a serene light, you know, somebody would have not identified. Right.
Her person wouldn't have been able to take her. That's the nerve-wracking thing. Yeah. That's where it's like, okay, Spirit, how are you going to show me the scenario?
Right. Yeah. And that was totally, you know, by the time it was over, you know, it was this. She was thankful, and she knew that, you know, and it was just like, wow. I have
to say, they're the most beautiful readings because they get so much closure. They understand they're at peace. They understand they haven't missed anything, and they're always there if they need them.
Right. Now, would I have chose a gallery reading for my first official reading? No.
Right.
But I don't always choose what I want to do. You know what I mean? So it's just,
you're just on a higher level, and they know what you can handle. Like they say, God gives you what you can handle. Right. And you were ready. You asked for that.
Well, and that's what Shauna Maria said. She said, the reason why she does one-on-one with me, she doesn't put me in a class.
Right.
She says you're a natural.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we just need to tweak some things with you, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
yeah. I love talking to her too. She's
I'm
If you're
proud of you,
doing-
Jay.
thank you.
You took the leap of faith. We need
Yeah.
more like this. We need more people to do this.
Push. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is you already have everything you need. You're just
Right.
building your library, I say.
Right. Yeah. I've had this my whole life, and I tried to drown it with alcohol and drugs.
That's what we do. We try to silence it, and we're here for a specific mission, a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And if we deny our gifts, our life is horribly sidetracked. And
yeah.
it takes a lot to accept it. And
It does.
I ran from it my whole life too. Even though I did what I did on the side, and I never charged, and I still don't charge all the time. I donate so much, so much time. And I don't think people understand how much you put into we don't want anything back. It's just, we want to be there to educate, help, and facilitate the living and the dead. And that's who we are. We're those the bridge, that connects. And it's a blessing and it's a curse, I always say.
Yeah.
The curse, it is.
Yeah.
You can't be lied to. You can't be bullshitted, right? You can't. It's hard. It's really hard, because I know, I'm sure that and she's told you that there's like different types of mediums, but the hardest is an empathic medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you can be multiple of these things, but when you have that too, then you kind of got to reprogram yourself. So you're reprogramming, you're healing, and healing's constant. It never stops. That's the shit of it. I think, right when you think you got it, something else comes in and it's like, bam, wake up, and you get slapped in the face again. Like, here you go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's times where, I think I wander and everything, but I think I get ahead of myself sometimes. I get ahead of myself, and it's like, wait a minute, whoa, slow down. And I think that I've always done that. I'm impatient.
It's
and
because
I'm a Gemini,
you're a natural
and,
leader too, though, and you're ready. You're ready. You're ready to take it on. Which that's not a bad trait. That's a good thing.
Well, no,
but pace yourself.
And it's not.
I do too. I get bored.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah, I have a very very short attention span. But yeah. It's just,
I say I'm ADD all over the place. ADHD. I'm like, walking through Walmart.
Right.
I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at I make a joke about it.
Yeah. No, I
look at the lights while I'm walking around.
Yeah. you talk about Walmart, and talking about, guarding yourself, and I have to guard myself every day before I leave the house. I mean, I have to shield myself, protect myself.
It's a ritual.
It is.
You have to.
Because I've been jumped before.
Yeah.
And I did not do that.
Yeah.
And that was a vehicle I used to own. Evidently, this gentleman had killed himself in it and was trapped in the vehicle.
Oh wow!
And he was angry, mad. I mean, I'm talking pissed off. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time I would go out to my vehicle, a religious station would be on. I'd turn my car on, and I was like, I know
so
I
they
didn't.
don't, and they don't change. Their personality don't change. So he didn't like you.
Oh no, he didn't like me at all. So when I got jumped, and then I realized who it was, and then I had to do my prayers and this. And that. This was before I really seriously got into all this. This was probably 4 years ago. And once I realized I had to do that, then after that, I had to, every morning, boom, boom, boom. Like
it's almost like, how we get the natural. I want to tell everybody this, whether you understand it, believe it, whatever have you, we get a natural download every morning and every night.
Yeah.
And you were receiving the memos, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's almost, like I said, they always have our back. And if we don't listen, we pay big time.
Right. And there's sometimes where we have to go through that to be able to truly appreciate what it was that we went through.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, there'll be times where I'll be like, I want to go down this road, and I'll be like, nah, don't go down that.
Right.
Or don't do that, But it's a choice. We
And
still
I
have that
say,
choice.
I've made the worst decisions ever. I don't claim to be perfect,
Yeah,
but
right.
like you're
Nobody
saying,
does.
if we don't, if we got a lesson to learn, by darn, we're going to do it.
Right.
I mean, whether we're conscious of it or not, we're going to do
Right.
it.
Right.
And then, like you said, then we pass that knowledge on.
Mhm.
Then we learn how to deal with it, and then we
Right.
teach it. Yeah.
Right. And then the learning continues on after that. Even after you teach that,
Yeah.
there's something that I've learned that kind of goes along with that says, okay, yeah, I taught that, and I helped somebody, and it's like, but I also learned something else with it too. Whatever that is, I mean, it's
Right.
the learning does not stop. Oh, it's not like here's a loaf of bread. You can take your groceries home and that's it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, call you at home and hey, I got something else for you. You know what I mean? It's a
Right.
continuing
It's always.
cycle. It's always, and it's like I never feel like I'm not learning.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
always hearing, or when I speak to people or whatever, and me and Elizabeth this morning, did some amazing light work this morning, and
Nice.
it was exhausting, and it was done remotely. That was the one thing
Cool.
I couldn't quite understand, was remote viewing and doing things remotely.
Mhm.
The first time I did that was surreal. And then
Yeah.
my guide said, yeah, don't put your consciousness there. You got to do it from a distance,
Yeah.
because of the fact that you're putting yourself in danger when you do that. Do you
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
Yes, but you're also again, we're going to go back to that natural part.
Hmm.
You are already protected.
Yeah, I know that.
You're conscious of it, but again,
Right.
that's that training that is coming through even as you're speaking for
Mhm.
other people, so that for the
Right.
ones that are training or developing, they have to be conscious of that.
Hmm.
That's very
Yeah.
important, because
Right.
like you said, when we go into a place, or we're with certain people, you can jump all the time. They're natural. I
Hmm.
call it natural jumpers. Like I jump
Yeah.
all the time.
Right. I do
Um,
too.
but for people that start doing it and they're not aware of any protection,
Right.
prayer,
Right.
whatever it is that you do, yeah,
Right.
it can be. I've seen people have or bring stuff back. Did you guys
Hmm.
ever hear
Hmm.
about the people that are
Yeah.
near death and jumped,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
another soul come and inhabits their body?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
still a remnants of that person there,
Right. Right. That's scary.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
I
what happens.
basically, the first time I did that, when I was giving somebody a reading, this was a few years ago. Uh, because I got this information about this person, um, that I worked with, and I helped her somewhat in what I saw and this and that. I talked to a friend of mine, Kitty Janice. She was on
Sure.
an episode of Ghost Adventures. She's a psychic medium that lives in California, and she
Oh,
wrote a
yeah. Yes.
okay. She
Yes.
wrote
Okay.
When the Dead Speak.
Yes.
Okay, I've been friends
I
with her
had to think.
for a few years, and I basically, talked to her and sent her a text message, explained to her that was one of the very first readings I did, and this and that, and she said, you have to be careful. Do not put yourself there unless you're
Yeah.
protected, basically, in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She said it's your responsibility to do that, to take,
Right.
now that you've opened that door, you have this high responsible, task that you have to really take care of yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
That stuff's really, for more developed people,
mhm.
like you said, and what I found, anything that we can say or do with the intent, and then bringing our helpers in, if we remember just to like cross all your, dot all your I's and cross all
Eyes
your
across all your
T's,
T's. Yep.
right?
Yep.
You can even go beyond that, but I think you're good. Like you don't have anything
Yeah.
to worry about, but
Right.
it's a good
Right.
point to bring up.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
the more that we sit with like our guides and having our new experiences and kind of leveling up a little bit, that's then where we come in and we can kind of like tweak it and do more stuff with it, and it makes it more, you know, more not, I don't want to say challenging for us, but more creative.
It's something else. It's something else to experience.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I experience things, and I know that, Elizabeth, that you've been experiencing some different things as of late, even since you've been talking to me.
Yeah.
This will happen.
So, yeah.
Well, I've been in the closet for so long that and I even told Jay today, I was like, I honestly still would not be telling people that I was a sensitive or could do this stuff, except for he was like, honey, you just got to open up that box and stop closing it.
Yeah. You'll be fine.
Because Spirit, basically, when I heard from her team member Brandon Crody that you know, he talked about her, and Spirit said to me is, you need to tap that person because that person's going to help him and other people, and she's very important. She's going to be a very good medium, and this. I heard all that stuff before I even talked to her.
Yeah,
and I had told her that, you know, and I had told her that, and
you guys link in your energy. That's what teachers do. Jay's a natural teacher, so what he's able to do is hold that energy for you while you learn and develop a little bit further. But you're natural. I mean, listen, we all have the ability to do it. We're all born with some level of it.
Right.
It's just what you want. It's what you make of it. It's what you want. But some of us have that path too. Not everybody, but you can use it in everyday life. And I love that.
And I see that in Elizabeth, that she's very strong. Her light's very strong. It's very bright.
She's a natural healer.
Oh, yeah.
So
and I
you
saw
definitely
that.
have worked with animals and people. Yes.
Well, so it's really funny because I just hit 24 years in the service, and I've been a vet tech for the majority of it.
I saw animals, honey. I saw animals all around you. I had a rescue barn. I know, like, when I see my people, you guys are my people, your lights and your energy, and then your people, like, just raw.
As I have my outside cat Spike walking up to me now.
Jay, it's like my house. It's like, you don't know where they come from, then they just stay.
Oh yeah,
I have a lot.
I have to tell you that.
I was showing Elizabeth mine. There's one.
Yeah, the babies. I want them all.
The other one Oh, the other one laughed, but yeah.
Then I saw him walk off. He walked behind the couch while you were talking.
Oh. I wasn't paying attention. He got tired of nobody.
I have to tell you that, you know, when I was going through some health issues with my pancreas and stuff like that, I was, you know, it was probably 3 years ago. One day I was out trying to get some fresh air at 3 a.m, and I felt this furry thing on my leg, and I'm like, okay, I hope that's a cat and not a raccoon.
Like kitty.
So I turned my phone down, and here's this black cat that was rubbing up against me, and he's our half and half cat because he's half in, half out. And so he was with me when I had surgery, and I was laid up in bed and couldn't really get out of bed. He would sleep with me with his head pressed to my cheek, and he would sleep there.
He's your healer. He came.
Yeah.
He came to help. I love that.
Yeah.
They're so pure.
He's still here. And then now that my wife, when she had her foot surgery, he's like over there with her, and he won't come hardly see me now. But he's actually sitting across from me. His name's Spike. We call him Lord Spike because he owns everything.
That's awesome. I love that. Yes, I love my animals. You guys need
animals are awesome.
Doing the animal communication, especially you, Elizabeth. I feel like you would really excel in animal communication with your gifts.
Oh, I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever done that was with horses. And it wasn't by choice.
Mine happen. They come in just like the people. Yeah. You know, you got animals when you're seeing. This is the way I like to explain it. Is you're seeing just the visual pictures, because what they do is they telepathically send the visual, pictures to us, and they communicate that way or with the feeling. But it's mostly visual. And then I always see, like with you, I don't know if you have a boxer, Elizabeth, or had a boxer.
When I was little. Yeah, when I was
had
little.
a boxer. Yeah, she's still with you. Your dog's still with you. I've seen him.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
listen, our animals stay with us too. Our loved ones never leave. Our animals stay. I don't specialize in animal communication, but I always got, picked on because my mom always said every time you hold an animal, you'd squish it and you'd say, "Oh, I love you so much." And she's like, "I was so scared you'd squish it, but you were gentle
Right.
with it, and it just
Right,
looked like
right.
you were squishing it." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah."
My daughter gives me a hard time because every time we see someone walking a dog, I'll always say something like, "So do you think they'll care if I just take it and run?"
Right? I know. You're like me.
Right.
I love all sorts of animals.
Yeah. Animals, especially cats. I've always been drawn to cats,
Yep.
but I mean, the cats. I've always thought that cats are half in, half out. I
Yeah.
think they're
Oh, yeah.
spiritual animals. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
I mean, they can
Absolutely.
see things that we can't even see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
They're
So
kind of like our protectors. There are, especially, just like what you were saying, Jay, that your cat would lay with you when you were sick.
yeah.
They protect us when our energy's low. And if there's
Right.
something around, they alert us. They'll let us know.
Oh yeah.
Just like the Egyptians,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. And I've had dogs before, but I really want a German Shepherd. I have this longing to have a German Shepherd, and we really can't have it because we don't have a fenced-in yard.
Right.
It'll happen.
It will. It will happen.
Yeah.
The universe provides. That's
Yes.
what Sky said in her book.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Always.
Right.
Always. And even when we're not ready or we think we're not ready, things just drop on you. Just receive. The hardest thing that we do being humans and being evolved spiritually, we have a hard time letting go. If we trust and we just let go, it's almost like, when you're thinking of, okay, you're writing your one thing down, your one goal, and you're like, this is what I want to do. This is a stupid example. This is what I want to do by the end of the month. I'm not even going to be specific. And you're racking your brains out. What am I doing? How am I creating it? And you got all this stuff going on. Well, even with that going on, you're just like, okay, I don't even know what to do anymore. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to push it aside and forget about it. As soon as you do that, bam, it's right there. It's
right there.
done. They've worked it out for you.
Right.
All the details are right down to the nitty gritty of what you wanted. It's just letting go. It's hard.
Right. It is hard. It's very hard. I deal with that on a daily basis.
Yeah. Me too.
So, but having said that, it's just it's like an appreciation of that learning of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And be mindful of where you're at. Be mindful of where you're at in your spirituality and where you're at, and as being on this plane. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the fact that you can be open to such positive things in this world that people are so undained with negative views on TV or in public or whatever. I mean, go out and enjoy nature. Go out and hug a tree, and I mean that literally. When I see trees, I see life. When I see plants, I see life. I mean, it's just it's take your shoes off, put your bare feet in the grass, stand there for a while. You know what I mean? Connect with that.
It helps.
And it does. That connecting that and the grounding is really important, especially for mediums.
Yeah.
Ground yourself all the time.
And
if
clearing.
You feel lost, and clearing. If you feel lost, if you feel like you're philandering somewhere, take your shoes off. Go stand in the grass. If somebody asks what you're doing, say never mind.
Listen, my neighbors think I'm cuckoo, guys. I'll go out and I'll dance around with my earbuds in and I start doing my meditation. Yeah. I don't care. I'm the only person that's
Right. Yep. And that's the important. Yeah. Just
take off my combat boots and stand in the dirt. That's not part of your uniform.
Right. There you go. Right. So Sky, why don't you tell us where people can find you and talk about where we can find your books, and you have another book coming out soon. So why don't we give the people a little bit of information so that they know where to locate you?
So you can reach me, mediumskyraye.com. services, just email me. I have a list. You can get my book from there in the Kindle version or paperback. I think I'm on all digital platforms for my book. So
Okay.
Barnes & Noble, all that. Oh, my business page on Facebook is at Medium Sky Raye. My Instagram, you guys, it's sad. I had scammers.
Yeah, I
had
saw
people
that.
reporting it. It went down. I lost all my friends. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's a boring time there.
It'll take a little time, but
It'll take time.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's official Medium Sky Raye there.
You have a.
I don't have any backup accounts.
Okay, no. I have to tell you this. You have a big event or something gonna happen in the next 2 months. Just be mindful of that.
Thanks, Jay.
Sure. I wasn't really gonna say anything, but then it was kind of like, yeah, you can't hide that.
I'm excited. Oh, and the Field of Fears docs coming out. Yeah, keep an eye out.
Okay.
And the companion piece book is out on Amazon, and I'll share the links to you, Jay, and then
all right. Yeah, I'll share them out. Yeah, most definitely. So thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Medium Sky Raye. I really appreciate you.
I had a great time with you too. Stay in touch with me.
Yes,
we need to do some development circles together.
Yes, most definitely. So thank you all. And tomorrow's guest is Shauna Maria. So
my sister from another mister.
Yeah. So thanks again. This has been a lot of fun. And
thank you.
Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube as well. Have a good night, folks.